Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of No Huddle with Zach Arndt. And today we are taking a look at 5 underrated players for the upcoming 2022 college football season. These are 5 guys that I think are going under the radar, that have a lot of talent and are due for really big seasons. Starting off the list, we have Zach Charbonnet, running back from UCLA. Transferred from Michigan after the 2020 season. In 2021 for the Bruins, he ran for 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns, averaged 5.6 yards per carry, while also having 200 yards received out of the backfield on 24 catches. Zach Charbonnet is a guy who really didn't have a lot of carries in his time with Michigan. Went to UCLA last year, got about 100 more carries than when he did at Michigan in 2019, and took full advantage of it. I believe he's going to get more opportunity this year. Chip Kelly likes to run the ball. Zach Charbonnet is a big back. He's 6'1", 220 pounds. That's a pretty big guy out there in the Pac-12 for the Bruins. Realistic expectations for him, I'd say maybe 225 carries, 1,500 yards. I think he's going to be pushing 20 touchdowns as well this year. I don't think that's anything crazy to predict or assume. He could get over 20 touchdowns in the Chip Kelly offense. Next up, we have Malik Cunningham, quarterback for the Louisville Cardinals. Now, here's a guy, over 2,000 yards passing in the last 3 seasons. He had over 1,000 rushing yards last year. And you guys are probably wondering why he's on the most underrated list. Well, the problem is people still are not respecting him and talking about him when they talk about the top quarterbacks in college football. Making the comparison to Lamar Jackson may seem crazy, but really it's not when you watch the highlights, look at the numbers. And heading into his senior season, coming off a year where he threw for 3,000 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, and ran for 1,000 rushing yards and 20 rushing touchdowns. 40 combined touchdowns, over 4,000 yards of total offense, and I believe those numbers are going to increase this season. Having 5,000 total yards and pushing 50 total touchdowns is nothing crazy for Malik Cunningham. He's going to have a lot of talent around him. He did lose his number 1 receiver, though, to Alabama. But that doesn't take away from the individual ability that Malik Cunningham has. Playing in the ACC, it's not like he's going to go up against an SEC defense every week. It's the ACC. He's going to be able to go and pass for 300 yards and rush for 100 almost every game, just like Lamar did. I don't see any way Malik Cunningham doesn't do that. I mean, he's a Heisman dark horse for me. He might just win the whole thing, if I'm being honest. There's a good chance. Some realistic expectations for Malik Cunningham. I already mentioned, I think he can get 5,000 total yards, maybe 3,000 passing, maybe 3,500 passing, and then about 1,500 rushing. I do think he'll get 50 touchdowns, though. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I think he'll be pushing 30 passing touchdowns, maybe another season with 20 rushing touchdowns. It's just he's their whole offense. He's going to have the ball in his hands almost the entire game. I don't think those numbers are anything crazy. Next up on the list, we have a guy that not very many people know, but they're going to know who he is after a couple weeks into the season. Sean Tucker, running back from Syracuse. Yes, I said Syracuse. That doesn't take away the raw talent that this kid has. Last year in 2021, he ran for 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns on 246 carries and averaged 6.1 yards a carry. He also had 20 receptions for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, Sean Tucker, he's due for a big season. Syracuse, they really don't have much going for them right now. They haven't had much going for them the last how many years. But what they do have is a stud at running back, arguably a top 5 running back in college football. He's going to be up there fighting for the Doak Walker Award this year. Realistic expectations for him, he might be pushing 2,000 yards. 1,800 is probably a number I'd say. Maybe 18 or 19 touchdowns on about 6 yards per carry. Defenses are going to be loading up the box on him. He doesn't have the talent around him. I think Syracuse season is going to really rely on what Sean Tucker can do. If they want to get 4, 5, 6 wins, Sean Tucker is going to have a huge season, and he's going to have to be in that running for the Doak Walker Award. Our 4th most underrated player heading into the 2022 season is Robbie Ashford, quarterback Auburn, the transfer from Oregon, so I'm pretty familiar with him. He did not play any snaps at Oregon last year. He just played in the spring game, and he did show out very well in that game. He draws comparisons to Russell Wilson, just a little bit taller though. He is a baseball player, just like Russell and Kyler Murray. He has all the ability. I mean, he's a dual threat guy. He can throw it anywhere on the field. He can throw the deep ball. In an Auburn spring game, he did win MVP of the spring game on offense. Looking at Auburn's quarterback room, Robbie is definitely not going to get the job handed to him. They have Zach Calzada coming in there, TJ Finley from LSU. He's going to have to earn it. I don't think he's going to be in the driver's seat heading into fall camp. I think he'll be third on the depth chart. But from a talent standpoint, I don't see any reason he shouldn't be fighting for that starting job. Zach Calzada does have the experience. He did play for A&M last year. He did beat number 1 Alabama. But Robbie Ashford, he's still considered a freshman, a redshirt freshman. A lot of eligibility left, and I think he's going to be their quarterback of the future going forward. I think by maybe week 4 or week 5, after that Penn State game, I think Robbie Ashford is going to take the keys. Maybe Auburn can fight for 5 or 6 wins this year. The last guy on our list, coming at number 5, Corey Foreman, defensive end for USC. Former number 1 overall recruit in his class in 2021. The blue chip, 5-star, chose the Trojans, stayed home. And his freshman year last year, he only appeared in 8 games, 11 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. He did not start. I believe he came off the bench in most of the games. But this year, this is Corey Foreman's year. This is the year he's going to come on the scene. Because I believe if he went to any team in the SEC or went to, say, Ohio State, went to like Oklahoma, Texas, you'd hear a lot more about him at the end of the year. But USC went 4-8 last year. Their defense was not very good. Corey Foreman, no one talked about him after he committed. But I think he's gonna come onto the scene this year. Lincoln Riley, first year at USC, the offense is gonna be booming. They're gonna win games. And that defense, you're gonna look over there, you're gonna see number 0. Some realistic expectations for Corey Foreman. I obviously think he's gonna be starting. He does have to get a little bit tougher on the edge. He didn't play up to his strength and up to his size last year. But I think he'll be pushing maybe 8.5 tackles for loss, maybe 10, and then maybe 6 or 7 sacks this year. It's going to be a growth mindset this year for Corey Foreman. Didn't get a lot of playing time last year. This is really going to be his freshman season. He could make a All Pac-12 team, maybe first or second team. Probably a realistic expectation to be second team at the highest with all the defensive linemen that are good in the conference. But yeah, I'm not going to be doubting Corey Foreman this year whatsoever. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you all have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one.